So let's talk more specifically about community colleges in Texas. So in fall 2016, 1.5 million Texans enrolled in a community college, which is up 65% in the last 16 years. Public community colleges in Texas are funded from three major sources. This is really important to understand kind of moving forward. Community colleges are funded through student tuition and fees, levy from local property taxes, and state appropriations. So what this means is that university systems in the Texas legislature, in the budget, they have their own line item. So the Texas A&M University system has a line item. The University of Texas system, the University of North Texas, Midwestern State University, they all have their own kind of line item in the Texas budget that appropriates funding to them. Community colleges are different in that community colleges are all grouped together in the budget, and then they're tasked with dividing up how much of the resources come to them. So kind of thinking of it as a pie, university systems get their own pies, whereas community colleges get one pie and they have to divvy up the funds. So there's state appropriations. There's also the levy from local property taxes. So for example, Collin College, which used to be Collin County Community College, and Dallas County Community College, Tarrant County College, which used to be Tarrant County Community College, they are all funded through local tax bases, so local property taxes. NCTC, where I work, is not funded through Denton County. We're funded through Cook County. We're also funded from the county where Bowie is located and Graham, which is Montague and Jack County. The reason that is important is because community colleges that are funded through their local tax bases have more opportunities to increase revenue for those colleges than, say, a college that only relies on state appropriations and tuition. And that's kind of one of the challenges that we're facing at my community college. Whereas a place like Collin, college has kind of a wealthier tax base. They're able to locate additional funds for buildings and for program development. If you're not taxed at the county level, it can create some challenges. So for all intents and purposes, we are Denton County Community College, but Denton County doesn't pay taxes for NCTC. And so it creates some challenges. Another kind of caveat to that creates additional challenges is that in 2013, the Texas State Legislature created an outcomes-based component to the state appropriation called Student Success Points, meaning that our funding is tied specifically, part of our funding is tied specifically to what they call Student Success Points. And so if you'll look at the next slide, I kind of describe what that looks like. So we get some of our funding based on how many students complete developmental math, developmental reading, developmental writing, how many students pass their first college math course, their first college reading course, English, complete 15 hours, complete 30 hours, complete their STEM courses, complete their towards degree or certificate, and then how many transfer to the university. Now, it's not all of our funding, but it is a percentage of our funding is based on student success points. This creates some opportunities to talk about how are our students proceeding through the community college and whether they are successful in developmental English, their first year, their second year, whether they're transferring. It does present some challenges because, like I noted earlier, some of our students aren't coming to NCTC or to a community college for a degree, so we don't necessarily get those points. So then they have to do what's called reverse transfer, and so the college will kind of go to those students and try and encourage them to come back to NCTC to finish their associate's degree so we can get those points. It creates challenges in regard to how we measure success in our courses. But it also does create opportunities to talk about what it looks like to get students to complete developmental education, to complete their first year and their second year, and to transfer. And so it's been interesting, to say the least. Thinking about community colleges in Texas, we have 50 community colleges in Texas and several of the largest in higher education systems. So for example, Lone Star has 90,000 students. Dallas County Community College, 72,000 students. Tarrant County, 60,000. Collin, 53,000. And North Central Texas College has 9,000. So if you are thinking about, teaching composition and what the landscape looks like in regard to employment, maybe you're thinking about getting a PhD, or maybe you're just wanting to maybe get a full-time job teaching, community colleges are a sizable employer in Texas. Just kind of looking at the sheer number of students enrolled in a community college. The average cost of tuition for 12 hours at a community college is about $987 in district. So this comes back to local tax bases. So if you are in your county and your county is taxed, like Dallas, Collin, Tarrant, or Cook, then you would pay about $987 for in-district tuition. Out-of-district tuition is about $1,500. So for example, students in Denton County pay out-of-district because we're not a taxed county. And then out-of-state tuition is about $2,000. But if you'll notice, by comparison to a four-year university, a class at NCTC costs about $350 for an English course. At Collin, if you're in district, it's about $75 an hour, maybe even less than that, maybe $60 an hour, so maybe like $180. At a four-year university, the same class costs about $1,200. So we do provide a significant cost savings for students. More specifically about North Central Texas College, we are the oldest continuously serving community college in Texas. We are a mid-sized community college serving students on 5 campuses. That includes online and dual credit sites. Our Gainesville campus has about 1,400 students. The main campus with it, so the Gainesville campus has about 1,400 students. It's our main campus with administrative offices. It's more akin to a junior college, meaning that we have dorms, we have sports, we have rodeo. We also have tech programs like machining and welding, air conditioning, HVAC. We also have a brand new health science facility and nursing to support our nursing program. It is more of a rural campus atmosphere with the rodeo, with we have a lot of like agriculture-based programming on the Gainesville campus, and it is a tax base, meaning that students in Gainesville pay a little bit less for tuition because Cook County voters do, or Cook County residents do pay property taxes to NCTC. That does present other challenges because you cannot use funding collected from Cook County to support anything in Denton County. So that does create some unique challenges. In Corinth, that is our largest campus. We have about 4,000 students. It is more of a suburban campus. It's probably more like a traditional community college. We have a lot of students returning to higher education, in their late 20s, early 30s. We have a lot more students who are developmental education. We have some of our work programs like paramedicine, EMT, business administration programs. Those are on our Corinth campus. It is our largest campus. We are bursting at the seams. It is a challenge to find enough classrooms, enough space for faculty, offices. So that campus does present some unique challenges because we are a non-tax base in Denton County, meaning that Denton County voters do not pay taxes towards NCTC. So the only revenue streams we have for Denton County would be tuition increase or tuition and state appropriations. And then our Flower Mound campus is about 1,700 students. Those are primarily dual credit, early college. It's on the southern side of our Denton County. We also have a campus about, I'm pointing this way, I don't know if it's this way or not, but it's about an hour west in Bowie. It's also more of a rural campus, but it is primarily dual credit. We don't have any weekend or evening courses on the Bowie campus. It is a tax base, meaning that the Bowie voters did choose to tax themselves to pay for the Bowie campus. So we have been able to support more growth on that campus, buildings, infrastructure, things like that. But it does present some challenges because the college enrollment is so low out there with 500 students. So that's an hour west another hour west, so 2 hours from me, is our Graham campus, and it's about 300 students. It too is also a rural campus. It's primarily dual credit also. It is a tax base. And so again, no evening, no weekend courses, primarily dual credit. Primarily the students come from the area high schools to our campus. Then we also have an online campus. It is pretty sizable, about 3,000 students. Now some of these are duplicated. You know, a student might take a class in Corinth and might also take a class in Flower Mound and take a class online. But our online students, we have about 3,000 students taking a class at any point online. And then we also have about 700 dual credit students. This is a decline in recent years from about 1,300. And as I kind of mentioned earlier, with the kind of introduction of the four-year university into the dual credit conversation, we've seen our enrollment decline in regard to dual credit because for, you know, and I get it, for parents it looks a bit more prestigious, or, you know, has a bit more cachet to say that your student went to Texas Woman's, excuse me, I got hiccups, as opposed to North Central Texas College. So we've had a decrease in our enrollment. This does present some challenges because for the college to continue to grow, we really do need to be a tax base. But it's really difficult to be a tax base when the largest ISD in your county doesn't come to you for dual credit. Because if you think about it, dual credit parents are very active in their communities. They often vote. They're often property owners. And if their children aren't going to NCTC, it presents really unique challenges for how we will convince them to tax themselves to pay for NCTC. So moving into the next part of the presentation, I'm going to kind of flip it to the other video to kind of talk about some of the opportunities that come from teaching at a community college.